Hello, everyone, and thanks for listening. So, sugar mama, we've all heard the term sugar daddy, and that's an older man who chooses younger women, and a term for the term for sugar mama is an older woman who will choose the younger males. And so, this is a something they also will refer to the older woman as the cougar. And so, here you have some women that are online and they complain about the men, and he's not doing this and he's not doing that. But you will also have some women. Now, it's not all women. You'll have some women who they'll complain about a man being close to his family or his mother, and some of that is because they want him so that they can pretty much take care of him. And you'll find that some older women kind of get off on that, and some of that too is a sex thing. Well, I would say a majority of it is, to be honest. So this is entitled "I'm a Sugar Baby," and a sugar baby is a younger. It could be a younger male or a younger female that's with an older male, or a younger, in this case, it's a younger male that's with an older female. And there are some women out there who, there are, believe it or not, that will pay for a younger male to stay around. And so this guy, he says he has a sugar mama, which is an older woman, and she basically, pays his bills. And so there's a story behind all of this. Now, some of this is, out of an article here, and this article is called "The Refinery 29." And so it goes on, it has some clips. Well, not actually clips, but, like a slideshow. And so I guess it explains the certain concept behind why this person. But then there's these relationships are with benefits. And some people know what that is. So, what would you say is the difference between Tinder, Bumble, and these sugar baby sites? Okay, so we've heard about these sites. So, some of these sites are a haven for people in this category. Okay, so the biggest difference with Tinder is that it's so much easier to tell people how you met your date. Like, hey, I met this girl on Tinder and I took her out, but that changes drastically when you meet someone on arrangement. Okay, so these sites are pretty popular, and we've seen the horror stories more recently with some of these sites. And so some of it for some people is to look for benefits sake, or maybe. So the biggest difference they say on Tinder is that it's much easier to tell people how you meet or how you met your date. And so, like, hey, I met this girl on Tinder and I took her out, but that changes drastically when you meet someone on an arrangement. So I also think in general, with the girls I've dated in the past, you go on the first date and you don't expect a ton from it. Okay, so some people just want to go out and hang out. And so to the right, you'll see like a comment that is made. You feel more confident knowing that someone is going to be like, hey, I'm going to pay for your apartment. And so some of these relationships are for particular benefits. A younger guy, the older woman, she probably looks at it as he's attractive, he's younger, and the sex is better. He doesn't have to take, Viagra necessarily, or Cialis. He doesn't have to take, sex pills to make him enhanced. And if he's younger, he's able to perform better. And so this is just the honest truth. And so it goes on to say that you play this game where you put your best foot forward and you look at how everything goes and assess after that. And so when you're going on an arrangement, and so they have it specifically labeled as arrangement date, it's like something could potentially happen here. So you feel more confident knowing that someone is going to be like, hey, I'm going to pay for your apartment. And so specifically, this guy has something in mind with whom he's involved with. And so this is going to be more than just a date. He's looking for somebody to take care of him, basically. And some older women are willing to do that with benefits. And the benefit of being with the younger man, as I said, is a lot of times the sex drive, and if he's attractive, that's what they're, gaming on. So when you dated on Tinder and Bumble, did you pay for the dates? So in the past, I've always paid for everything on dates, drinks, dinner. So this is a completely opposite approach for me. I don't feel like every person I date going forward is going to have to pay for me. And I've definitely felt weird sometimes. And so I have gotten more comfortable with arrangement at this point. But I understand how it looks from the outside. Did you offer to pay on your first seeking arrangement date? I actually did offer to pay the bill, which looking back didn't make sense. Okay, so let's delve into this. I actually did offer to pay the bill, which looking back, it didn't make sense. So she didn't let me. So the second one, I got a little smarter. So I did the wallet reach on both those dates, and I genuinely would have paid, but now I don't even do the wallet reach anymore. So tell me about your first date from the site. I didn't really know what I was doing at the time. And I was like dinner and drinks, and that was really it. And to be honest with you, that was it. So everyone always thinks there's going to be more details, but they were just dates. So the second date I had was with a different woman, and it was her first time using the site. And it was the same dinner and drinks, not too exciting as far as perks. And so I've only been on the platform for about a year, maybe 11 months. And this is the third arrangement that I've done. And sometimes I forget where I met her and how long it's been going on. And so he's really just giving his account of what he's experienced. And the women are paying for him. And so this guy is being honest about what he calls an arrangement is like. So who is your current arrangement? And what are the terms? Okay, because you can express what your terms are. Okay, so the woman that he sees is divorced with one kid and has a pretty good job. She works in the tech industry, and she's 46 years of age. Her birthday is actually next month. And so right now she pays for my apartment in San Francisco, which is extremely, very, very expensive, that I heard, living in San Francisco, which is amazing because I live in the marina right now. And so he says he has a membership that she pays for that. So I pay for a trainer and Soul Cycle. My rent comes to about $3,000 a month, which is so much more than I paid in New York. And with the gym membership, she gives me around $3,300 a month. And so this lady is paying his rent and his gym fees. So I've also been in Miami and Cancun with this woman. And we have one more vacation that is planned. So how did these terms come about? Well, the rent specifically an offer from her. So she gave him the offer. She said she'd pay his rent. And then she was the first one to throw that idea out there. And so I was talking about the biggest differences between New York and San Francisco. And I think there's a perception they may have similar housing costs, but they're not. San Francisco has a lot less inventory and is much higher priced out there. So then the gym was a joke that turned into something that is now included. So she pays me via Venmo. It's called Venmo. But with Venmo, you can only do 3,000 max. So she breaks it down into 2,500 and 750 or $800 the following week. Do you sleep with her? Yes. The first 2 times I slept with her, I felt a little different, but now I don't feel weird at all about it. What was weird about it at first? I think it was knowing that someone had agreed to pay for my apartment. And so that there was that first thought, hey, is this really happening to me? That's what he was thinking. So it's not the most common way of dating. So it was just going through the experience first time, mentally checking in at where I was with it. Does this make sense? Is this something I want to be involved in? And I really enjoyed it. And so this is an account from a young guy, and he's not the only one who the woman pays for his rent, his gym fee. She doesn't, have a problem doing that. And so she's considered a cougar or a sugar mama. So anybody just tuning in, that's what this whole thing is about. So it says, it's just someone paying for my rent and it's not that crazy. At least to him, it isn't. What are you in this for? Okay, so that's the question. What type of relationship is he looking for out of this woman? The financial reward is definitely a bump for me. That's what the young guy is saying. So I've probably made around $30,000. It's something I can use. And I also do like her to a point. So he's not in love with her, but he likes her to a point. To the point that she's paying his bills, she's paying his rent, his gym fees, and paying his $3,000 a month apartment in San Francisco. Who wouldn't like somebody paying for everything? And they don't have any problem with it. This lady's got a good job. She has 1 kid, but she's shelling out probably more than $600 a month, or maybe even more than that. So she's already given him like $30,000 for a relationship that for her, he's young, he's probably attractive, and it's the sex factor. And for him, he's young and he's just going along in life, and she's giving him a bump up. Like he said, financial reward is his gain in this relationship. And so I also do like her to a point, he says. So there's no real love involved. It's just a financial bump. And so I don't know where that leaves me. Obviously, she's paying for my apartment and my gym membership, and I have generally a good time with this woman. So he has a good time with her, and they do go to Cancun and they go on trips because she can afford it. So I like her. I think if you take out the financial gain from it, I would still want to see her. So he does kind of like her. So I guess not only the money, there's something there, but not quite love. It's just the fact that he's getting the financial thing with her, and then all of that. And then she's probably, an experienced lover, I would believe, because she's an older woman, so she's had more experience. And so he might get a kick out of that as well. So I had to add that in there. So it's not just all the fact that it's her. But I don't know how that emotion or feeling would change if there wasn't financial gain as well. So he's admitting that if the money wasn't there, he doesn't know if that would change things. It probably would. I'm guessing that it probably would, because they're not able to go to the trips. He's not able to pay his way, and he's not able to pay for his rent through her. He'd have to do it and foot the bill all by himself. And so, what can you do with a relationship when there's no money involved at all? It would have to be for, the fact that you like her, or you were in love with her, or you had to think for her. It'd have to be something. And so I guess the money is a factor somewhere in there, big time. So would you ever do the reverse? Be the sugar daddy? Now, let's say this woman, she's older than him and he's younger, and then he begins to get older and she gets much older and he's no longer interested in her and he wants a younger woman. What would he do? Would he do the reverse? My immediate response, he said yes. But I don't know how I would feel about paying for a 4-year-old's apartment somewhere. See, there's a difference there with the guys. He likes the older woman paying his way, but he can't see himself really paying the young woman's way. So I just thought you guys need to kind of hear that. That could drastically change, though, he says. Now, on the other hand, what if he was making a whole lot of money and he was really wealthy? It might be different. I have no problem looking into that, though, he says. So I really don't think that it's any different from going on a regular dating platform. So yes, there's a financial aspect to it, he says. But honestly, I'm not walking around with more money in my pocket. Instead of cash, it's just someone paying my rent, and it's not that crazy. So it's almost like matching platform, where I'd want to find someone to date, but I also need help with something else, which is the rent and the bills and whatnot. So he kind of likes having that woman there because she's sort of a security blanket. And so I'll leave that rest of that to, the people who would comment on this. What do you think about that? Would you do that? Would you pay somebody's bills and rent? Or would love have to be involved in it? And if they were either much younger than you, would you do it? And if they were much older than you, would you allow them to do that back to you? So would you change anything if you were to start a new arrangement? I would definitely ask for vacations more. So he likes the fact of going out of town and going on vacations more. And they're probably extremely expensive because you have to pay for, your transportation going and coming back, and then where you're going to be staying, how long you're going to be staying, and then food and lodging, that is. So I would put that into the terms. So it can be hard to find someone who has the time to take the vacation and the money to pay for it. And I would take less rent in order to travel more. So he enjoys traveling. And so he would love to do that with someone if they were able to arrange that. And so it's always a good time. And I would love traveling to Barcelona, Cuba, Italy, or the Southeast Asia. But you're just seeing this one woman right now. You can make some pretty big financial gains by seeing a few people at a time, but I'd rather just see one. If it ends, I would try this route of dating again, especially while I'm in school. I've always been a serial dater. I don't think that I would be on this platform to see multiple people. I'm just seeing where this is going right now. So do you see this going somewhere more seriously in the future? I definitely am getting to a point where I see it as more than just a hookup. So there's some promise there. So I don't think I would say it's a full-blown relationship. He's still young. He's got a life ahead of him. So he's not completely sure because of the terms and the things that I like that. But it's more than just paying for something. I see her 3 times a week, but we haven't had a deep dive conversation. So I expect she's going on dates, and I've gone on a few dates myself, is what he's saying. And we've made jokes about it. So they're in an open relationship. She pays his way most of the time. So she must be making bank. And on top of that, she's much older and she's a more experienced woman than he's been with. He goes with other women. He goes out on dates with other women. And apparently there's no hardcore commitment in this. She's single and he's single, but he kind of likes her because she's got the ends, she's got the money. And so I expect she's going on dates. That's what he says. And I have gone on a few dates myself. And we've made jokes about it, but we've never really sat down and said, are you seeing other people right now? And I think we'll probably have that conversation at some point. So would you consider marrying someone that you met on this platform? I can't give you the best answer. These arrangements are still in the infancy stage of being socially accepted. So I have to really think about that. I have to really like a person to consider that marriage. So he's not quite there with her yet on that. He likes her, but I think it has to do with maybe the money more than likely, and then possibly the sex. So I'm just trying to think about how that conversation goes. So like, hey, you don't have to pay for my apartment anymore. So how would that conversation go? So how would you have a conversation like that at all? So if you're personally gaining from the relationship, what is it like when you say, okay, this is enough? And so let's see. It says up here, to be open with you, people can make some pretty big financial gains by seeing a few people at a time. And so we're on the last slide here. Interested in learning more, we went on a date with Male Gigolo, and here's how it went. Read these next. My husband makes $240,000 and I make $36,000. And those are the next reads or whatever. So those are other things. But anyway, I guess that was pretty much it. So what do you think about that? Would you date somebody that you think, they're much younger than you, and if you were wealthy or you're able or you could afford it, paying their rent and their bills, or vice versa? And so this right here is about sugar babies, and sugar babies in particular are young guys and older women are on these dating sites, specifically making arrangements to meet these younger dudes and pay their way and just have fun, probably have sex, and do a lot of stuff, that you normally wouldn't do, or you probably could not do with a older guy. Sounds like she's having a lot of fun, but she can afford to. And it sounds like he's having a lot of fun in his way. And it's because she's an older woman and she has a tech job and she works out there in San Francisco, and they're having a good time. But, it doesn't sound like he's really in love with this woman. He likes her a lot. And that could be because she's more experienced and she's paying his way, and he's younger and he's probably attractive. And so that's what she's on to. So these are some things that I just thought I would throw out there, because there are some women that will complain and they'll pretend as though that, they'll complain because I think sometimes some women will complain because they don't want younger men to be too attached to their family, because some of those women are older and they want to pretty much do the coddling, and have fun, and then the sex is involved in it. And so it's a different type of coddling though, because it's more sex, like a sexual attraction. And so what do you think about that? And so these are the things that some people are not talking about. I'm sure they may talk about a little bit of it, but they leave a lot of it out, and they make it seem like it's always the older men that are after the younger women. And that is true. That does happen. But it is also the other way around as well. You have some older women that will do this, and they don't have no problem. In this case, this particular situation, there's a section in there on those dating sites that's particularly for these arrangements. So with that being said, thanks for listening.